Hello YouTube, this is Frugal. This is the Frooglesim news for today, Sunday, May the 7th. Not a big show today and unfortunately no X-Plane content, but there is one big story I want to talk about in more detail than usual, and that would be Dovetail's new simulator. That will be at the end of the show. Before that though, let's dive in to the rest of the items. First up, the Alabeo C310-2 released. Alabeo C310-2 is modeled on the Cessna 310, produced between 1950 and 1980. It is a 6-seat low-wing monoplane and the first twin from Cessna produced after World War II. It actually found popularity as a charter aircraft and even saw some service in the military, where it was used as a light utility aircraft for transport and admin support. Alabeo's C310-2 includes the StormScope weather radar with an FSX, not prepared unfortunately, which is odd. It is fully compatible with the Flight 1 GTN 750 and the Reality XP GNS 530 on FSX. Now interestingly, this includes both regular and light versions, so those users struggling with low frame rates can opt for the light version to have a less taxing experience and better frame rates within the sim. It models full cold and dark starts, has accurate visuals and sounds inside and out, and comes with the usual set of Coronado and Alabeo PDF documents to get you going. The price is $34.95 for all versions of FSX and prepared version 2 and 3. Next up, Coronado this week previewed the 390 Premier IA, possibly the shortest preview teaser trailer for an aircraft I've ever seen. Coronado are now working on the Beechcraft Premier IA. Now, the Beechcraft Premier IA is a light business jet that was designed to compete with the Cessna Citation. It officially launched in September 1995, has a range of 1,600 miles and a ceiling of 41,000 feet. No news yet of a price or a release date, but stay tuned. The model certainly looks very interesting indeed. Next up, Turbulent Designs this week previewed KMBS International Airport over in Michigan. The feature set looks pretty good. It features both runways for the international airport, a completely modeled interior true to the internal blueprints of the airport itself, fully featured interior on one of the hangars as well, allowing you to start or end a flight inside the hangar, custom houses, buildings, trees, vehicles, and color match to the surrounding terrain with matching options for the default terrain, Orbex Global, or Mega Scenery Earth. Turbulent Design's Real Flora technology is also included to give you custom trees and vegetation which automatically change to match seasonal variations as well. All airport buildings are modeled with high-definition textures and specular effects, and the surrounding scenery is also modeled, capturing the farms and small holdings that actually surround the airport itself. KMBS, or MBS International Airport, entered beta apparently this week, hence the preview. No idea of a release date or a price just yet, but do stay tuned and keep an eye on Turbulent Design's Facebook page for more information. Next up, Just Flight this week announced the Javelin F Aw 8/9. The Javelin is a 1950s era twin-engine night and all-weather interceptor. It's being built by Just Flight from real-world plans with accurate animations, systems, and equipment. The animations include the correct landing gear sequences, flap actions, as well as the air brake and canopy, among other things. HD textures are being used throughout. It features full 3D instruments in the cockpit and comprehensive navigation equipment, as well as accurate simulations of the electrical, hydraulic, and fuel systems, and an accurate sound set inside and out. No idea of a release date just yet. More information on the Javelin at the justflight.com link in the show notes below. Next up, the Milviz Advanced Series F4E Phantom 2. Now, Milviz released their Phantom in 2015 and it was well received. The latest addition is the Advanced Series, which is an add-on to that aircraft that brings the aircraft up to a study-level simulation of the iconic F4E Phantom. It features an external flight physics engine. Now, running this outside of the sim overcomes limitations of the sim to get a more accurate flight model, and users of the Majestic Q400 will tell you better performance as well. Also includes accurate aircraft aerodynamics modeling and complete and in-depth systems modeling, including the flight control system, the automatic flight control system, the air data computer, realistic fuel management, and even complete modeling of the landing gear with individual failure points. Those failures, incidentally, are completely customizable throughout the aircraft. Also has scalable realism settings and includes an instructor mode to help you with any phase of flight from startup to shutdown. The price is $18.99. Now, bear in mind the Advanced Series is an add-on, so you do also need to have the Milviz F4E Phantom. If you don't have that and are interested in getting started, you can pick up a complete bundle of the Phantom and the Advanced Series for $79.99. More information at the milviz.com link in the show notes below. And finally, the big story. Dovetail Games this week formally announced the successor to FSX in the form of Dovetail Games Flight Sim World. They are releasing Flight Sim World into early access and say that they wish to work with the community to shape the future of FS World. They recognize, of course, that there is a more demanding audience today than there was when FSX released. The new sim supports DirectX 11. It is a 64-bit sim, more on that in a minute, and they have worked hard to balance performance between the CPU and the GPU. It also includes a number of state-of-the-art new technologies from gaming, notably physically based rendering, ambient occlusion, shadows, and so on. They are also working with a number of third-party developers with years of experience to bring content into the sim. The sim features accurate environmental effects as well and includes a Pro Mission Builder, which is the same toolset that Dovetail will be using to create content for the sim after release. People who previously bought Dovetail Games Flight School get Dovetail Games Flight Sim World for free, which is a bonus. Now the editorial bit. I'm going to wax lyrical a little bit, and I did some digging because I had a number of questions and I know you do too. The trailer shows only GA aircraft, so I asked Dovetail if they plan to have airliners too. They say that they haven't made a firm decision yet. It is designed to be a simulation platform, however, much like FSX, Prepared, X-Plane, and so on, and they say they want to give everyone the opportunity to build the experience they want. But starting out with GA, they are able to create quality benchmarks for third parties to meet or surpass. I also asked about the risk of this product being removed from Steam at some point. They said no. Flight School, which was removed from Steam, was not going to be developed further anyway, and with Flight Sim World, Dovetail have said that they are in this for the long haul. Now this is very important because with flight simulators you tend to buy the platform and then buy a lot of add-ons to inject into the platform, and nobody wants to invest a lot of money in a platform that might actually vanish in a week or two. So good to hear that Dovetail are in this for the long haul. Next up, the 64-bit bit. They keep mentioning this quite a lot in all their press releases and social media announcements that it's a 64-bit sim, and that's become a bit of a misnomer and a bit of a bug for me actually. 64-bit is important if you're an FSX user or even a prepared user because it enables the computer, the simulation, to use more of the available memory in a computer, thereby getting around the dreaded out-of-memory errors. But it's not that big a deal, really, in talking about a new platform. So I asked Dovetail, why are they mentioning 64-bit so much? What's the big deal? They said that they're mentioning it a lot simply because you guys are asking for it. 64-bit, they say, doesn't make the sim look or automatically perform any better, but it does give the developers some extra room to make the sim more detailed without compromising performance. In that light as well, I understand that Dovetail Games Flight Sim World is not going to ship with VR. Now, given that Dovetail Games Flight Sim World is built on Microsoft's various flight technologies, so Microsoft Flight and FSX, I asked if current technology standards like SimConnect and so on would be supported. SimConnect will be supported in the new sim. FSUI PC, however, will not. Now, I've seen a few mentions as well of a PC version, so I asked Dovetail outright, does this mean there's a console version? Is this a video game? They said they are not ruling out a console version, but right now the 16-person team is completely focused on the PC version. Now, the final nugget of information about this sim, and this is actually key, FSX lasted so very long, and FS9 lasted so very long, because of one thing, and that would be the third-party developer community producing its own add-ons and selling them separately to use in the simulator. The reason FSX survived after Microsoft ended support for it is simply because we have awesome companies out there like Coronado, Alabeo, A2A, PNDG, FS Labs, and so on, producing these outstanding aircraft that you can buy on a whim and inject into the sim and start flying. I asked whether the new platform is going to be open in the same way, allowing third parties to develop aircraft and sell them on their own. Dovetail have said yes and no. What's going to happen is that third-party developers are free to sell their own products on their own websites, but they must also sell them through Dovetail's own channels, which is the Dovetail Game Store and Steam. Now, this is a bit of a problem because if you look at the high-end developers like A2A or PNDG or FS Labs or even TFDI, people like that, they tend to charge a premium price for their study simulation aircraft because it costs them so very much to develop those aircraft, to hire in the actual aircraft, to film them, record them, or getting simulators and so on and so on. And of course, in the case of somebody like PMDG, it costs quite a bit of money to license the Boeing name. So those products have a premium price. If you're selling through Steam, I know that Steam takes 30%-ish of the sale price for themselves, and I imagine Dovetail Dovetail will be taking a percentage as well. This makes it a little bit questionable as to whether we're going to see some of those high-end developers releasing content for Flight Sim World. I know PMDG made an announcement this week on AvSim about just that it all depends that the economics are what will govern whether or not they can release products for this new platform. I personally don't think what Dovetail are doing here with the third parties is a good idea at all. Microsoft Flight was a very attractive simulator, and although out of the box it was quite limited and quite lightweight in terms of the sim experience, it had a lot of potential if only you could get those third-party developers in. But with that heavily controlled and curated store that Microsoft Flight had, that just didn't happen, and the sim died a death. There is a risk of that happening here if you're controlling the marketplace that add-ons are sold through. If you're saying that add-ons for Flight Sim World can only be made available by a third party if they are also made available through Steam, and presumably there will be a non-complete clause in the contract saying that you can't price it on your website at $50 and price it on Steam at $150, I think that limits the number of developers who are going to jump on board and start doing stuff for this new sim. I do hope that's not the case. Time will tell. It is too early today to draw a conclusion and say whether this sim is the holy grail of simulation that we all hope it will be, or whether it's grounded on day one. Time will tell. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on the announcement about Dovetail Games Flight Sim World. And of course, leave me a comment if I have missed something, and I'll take a look and see if I should include it in next week's show. Until then, though, my name is Frugal. Again, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.